Hello, Internet. It is Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. Alright, so Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm pretty sure most of you have heard of this IP by now. But it was a little internet game that debuted in like 2014. The whole gist of it is that you're like this security guard and your job is to look at cameras, look at monitors, just to check everything's cool. But then you don't realize that there's animatronics because you're basically at this like old Chuck E. Cheese-esque entertainment center, like family fun center that was shut down. And you got these animatronics, these things right here, that are just standing there. But then you realize these animatronics, they may be alive because they start moving when you least expect it. And then you screw up, they jump scare you. And then that's how the game works. So the game, we went from this little game, and now the whole thing is just ballooned into a whole franchise with sequels and spin-offs and follow-up games and novels and comics and like fan recreations and just a whole fandom, and now this movie. It's crazy how big it got. Like, it's kind of wild. But it kind of makes me ask, what took Hollywood so long to make this movie? Like, you had 9 years. You've had so long to make a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Like, you could have made like in 2015, 2016. They're like, no, 2023. That's when we'll do it. Like, I just don't understand that logic. Like, when you want to strike when the iron is like white hot, right? Like, wouldn't that make sense? It's the same thing with like the Sonic movie. You waited like 20 years too late to make it, but you know, whatever. I don't get like the reasoning behind like that, but yeah. Yeah, so Five Nights at Freddy's, big brand, huge fandom, huge fan base. That's an easy pro. So very recognizable IP with a massive fan base. That's a massive pro right there. Another pro is the fact that there's no serious competition this weekend. I know this is the Taylor Swift Eras tour, but that's 3 weeks old. Kills at a Flower Moon, boy, like the audience for this and the audience for Kills at a Flower Moon literally couldn't be any more different. Like, it's kind of hilarious when you think about it. So yeah, Kills at a Flower Moon is a non-issue. Everything else is a non-issue. Everything else is old and dead. So that's good, obviously. And this is easily being positioned as like the big movie of the weekend. So yeah, lack of any real competition, that's a pro. Definitely. So that's pro number two. Pro number three are this movie's Thursday previews, which are quite massive to say the least. I mean, I would have thought this would have opened with like 2, 3, 4 million in previews. This opened with 10.3 million. That's not opening night like Friday and Thursday. That's just Thursday. Just Thursday. I haven't seen numbers this big since freaking summer, since Barbenheimer. Like, it's the number really shocked me when I first read it. And yeah, I have to like find it here. Okay, I don't think it's listed here. No. Okay, so based off game. Uh you know what? Better idea. Creo comparison chart. I'm gonna be comparing this to Oppenheimer. I know that that's a crime against cinema. I'm sorry, but I they have similar Thursday preview numbers. I mean, Oppenheimer 10.5. Like ever since then, preview numbers, I don't even think a single one has reached past 5 million. But Five Nights at Freddy's has reached the double digits, and that makes me go, "Damn, this is clearly serious." Now, I'm not saying Five Nights at Freddy's likes will be like Oppenheimer's. Oh God, no, no, not at all. But that number, it being as high as it is, that is a very, very positive sign for its opening weekend, or at least its opening night. Although, let me see. Look at previews. Yeah, it would just, it's the same as Little Mermaid, the exact same as Little Mermaid. That album with 95 million. That's not gonna happen with Five Nights at Freddy's. I can tell you that. I tell you that with confidence. So yeah, but the fact that it's opened that big, I think it's a good sign. It's a very, very, very good sign for this weekend. So yeah. Incredibly strong Thursday previews. That's an easy pro right there. So that's pro number 3. Um Pro number 4 is the fact that the weekend this is coming out is actually really good for this movie because we're like right before Halloween, like literally 5 days away. Well, technically 4 days away as I'm making this video before Halloween. So it's kind of fitting that this is coming out the 27th. You have the 27th, the 28th, the 29th, the 30th, the 31st. 5 nights. The Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, isn't that clever? I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I kind of hope it is, because if it is, then that's smart. That's kind of smart. So, this coming out right before Halloween is a brilliant idea. Makes perfect sense. Halloween is obviously, the spooky month. So, having a movie like that come out right before Halloween, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. So, great release date, great weekend to launch. So, that's a pro. Another pro is the fact that they could have made this R rated, but they decided to make it PG 13, which may be groan inducing, but this makes a lot of sense from a business perspective because the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom, a lot of the fans, they skew towards like the younger side. A lot of them are like teens and like, lots of teens basically. And it'd be foolish to shut them out by making this R rated. That'd be a stupid decision. So by making this PG 13, they're able to watch the movie. A good chunk of that fan base are able to watch the movie, which means this movie can make more money. So, yeah, I say the PG 13 rating was a very good decision. Very good call by Universal. So, I say the PG 13 rating appealing more to younger crowds. That's a pro. Big pro right there. Another pro is that while the critic score is absolute trash, the audience score and the cinema score tell me a completely different story. Because the audience score is 89%. I thought it'd be at least like 70 to 60 to 70% or something like that. But 89%, that's really good. And its cinema score is an A minus, which is fucking shocking for a horror movie because horror movies have a very rough time with cinema score. Like a B is considered great, but an A minus, you never hear that ever for horror movies. So the fact that it got a score that high really shocks me to my core. But seems like the fans, the main people watching this movie, they love it. I didn't. I just watched it like several hours ago, and I don't know. I guess we're watching different movies because I'm not feeling the same way a lot of these fans are. Granted, I'm not a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. I think I only played the first game like one time, and that was it. So I'm not like deep in the lore or anything. But to me, it kind of fell flat. but I guess for everyone else, like it hit home. I guess I don't know, but yeah. So audience score and cinema score are both great. So that's a pro. I think that's it with pros. I think I mentioned all the important points. Have I? Yeah, I have. Okay, cons. I know like the reviews are like 25%, which is very much not good, but I don't think they matter at all. I don't think it's the critic score is pointless here. It's painfully obvious that the fan base, they do not give a shit about reviews. They were going to watch this movie no matter what. The score could have been a 0% and they still would have showed up. Like, it's kind of like the Mario movie in a sense, where like lackluster reviews or like reviews that aren't great, they're not going to stop the fans from showing up. Because if you appeal very much towards the fans, they're going to show up. I mean, we've seen that plenty of times. Like the Twilight movies, they severely lack quality, but the fans did not care. They showed up each and every time. So sometimes quality doesn't matter. Quality doesn't mean a damn thing. And that's certainly the case here. So even though it means nothing in the grand scheme of things, I'm just gonna just label the critic score as a con. But what I will label as a more of a real con is the fact that this is one of those day and date theatrical streaming movies, because with this is both in theaters and on Peacock at the same time. So if you wanted to watch this at home, you could on Peacock. Grant, you'd have to pay for Peacock to watch it, but still. And with the whole theatrical streaming like release strategy, it has a body count. I'll say that. Like it is it did some damage to cinema, serious damage. Like lots of movies suffered greatly because of it. I mean, the HBO Max experiment, I don't think I need to explain that one. But that was really, really rough. Because what happens is that, sure, opening night you do fine, but then people are just like, you know what? Why do I need to watch this in theaters again? Like, there's a severe lack of repeat business, and it results in the movies plummeting into oblivion. So, yeah, so that's obviously a problem. Although, the thing is, I imagine when they made that decision, they probably thought, oh, only like the core Five Nights at Freddy's fans are going to watch this. They're the only ones who are going to care. But I bet they feel really stupid now, considering how big this is open already. But, I don't think the Peacock release will hurt this movie too much. I feel like it'll have some type of negative effect. So I'm going to label that as a con, the Peacock release. But another big con is the fact that, ooh, like this weekend, this is like the one weekend where this movie is like hella relevant. Because after Halloween, like usually horror movies after Halloween, they die off real fast because they're not relevant anymore. Like you have your chance to shine, and then after Halloween, it's just like people just drop it so quick. And I feel like that's definitely going to happen here. So this movie has really 1 week to really shine before it falls and it just plummets into oblivion. But I guess the good thing is that next weekend is very light. It's like pathetically light. So maybe it won't be too bad. But yeah, the fact that this movie has 1 week to be relevant, that's not good. So yeah, I'm labeling that as a con. The fact that after Halloween, this movie's pretty much donezo. So yeah, I think that's it. So opening weekend. Oh, you know what? At the beginning of the month, I thought this would open with like 20 million max. Boy, I feel like a fucking idiot now. I'm like, thank God I changed my prediction, down the line, because I was starting to hear like reports of like 40 to 50 million opening weekend. I was like, huh? Like, I was really shocked. I was like, okay, this is weird, but I don't know if it'll hit that big. And looking at the preview number, like, it will hit that big. Actually, it'll hit bigger than that. So the number I'm seeing is $68 million. I mean, I guess. I mean, it's Friday will be fine, but I imagine it's going to be front loaded as hell. So even with the audience score and the cinema score being good, I feel like this is going to be very fan driven, which means it's going to be very front loaded. So I'm going to say 60 to 70 million opening weekend. 60 to 70 million. Let's just go with that. And it's total. Ooh, I see this movie dying a death. Because again, being fan driven, and also the fact that after Halloween, this movie will become irrelevant. So I don't know, 120 to 130. Let's just throw that out. I'm just gonna throw it out there. 120 to 130. I'd be surprised if this movie had really had like a decent legs. But these numbers are still fantastic. I mean, this is a movie I never thought would have made 100 million worldwide, let alone domestically. So again, this is showing 2023 has been hella weird when it comes to box office. Which, I mean, in this case is not a bad thing because this movie's actually making money. So yeah, but still, it's weird. And that's it, at least for that. So we have two more movies to talk about. Freelance and Inspector Sun. No one cares about these movies. You don't care about these movies. I don't care about these movies. But I gotta make these videos, so yeah. So stay tuned for those. But yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn notifications, share the whole drill. We'll check out more videos like this. I got playlists on the homepage. All previous prediction videos I made this year, the past few years. If you want to watch any of them, go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I only talked about this movie once, and that was episode 185, and that's when it got its release date of October 27th. And I talked about it alongside Aquaman 2, The Color Purple, Ballerina, and the Minecraft movie. So I talked about it alongside those. So if you want to watch, and the thing is, this Five Nights at Freddy's movie, it was literally made this year. I'm not joking. Literally, it was filmed in like a few months earlier in the year before the writer's strike and the actor's strike, and it managed to come out in October, which is very impressive. Like, they were very fast with that schedule. So yeah, but I only talked about it that one time. So you want to watch that episode or any other ones I've done. I've now done like 213 episodes, including because I just did one like several hours ago, which also included Aquaman 2, funny enough. So if you want to watch any of those cancel episodes from beginning to now, want to binge them all from beginning to now, I highly encourage you to do that, so go do it. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. October recap will come out first week of November before the Marvels comes out, and boy, October has been real. It's been something. I'll say that. Especially like the end with Five Nights at Freddy's, like that's a real shocker right there. So October will be interesting to discuss, even though there's not a whole lot to discuss when it comes to like quantity of movies, but there's still stuff to definitely talk about. So stay tuned for that video. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos of Man the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.